This is the story of our modest home that only ever knew the footsteps, love, laughter, and music of one family, our family. And of course, it's based on a true story. We lived at 620 Kenneth Avenue, and that was in Campbell, California, from 1952 when they bought the house new to 2018 when my mother passed away. This is my mom and dad, Larry and Dolores Cunha. They loved each other, and you can tell by the light in their eyes, they never passed up an opportunity to have a good time. My dad signed up to be in the Air Force. He really wanted to be a pilot, but unbeknownst to him, he had detached retinas, so they discharged him and he went home to be under the command of his loving wife, my mom. In 1952, Larry and Dolores Cunha purchased a newly built house on Kenneth Avenue in a recently cleared orchard in an unincorporated part of Campbell, California. Unincorporated meant that the lot had to be big enough to accommodate a septic tank and a leach field, which in this case was about 1/4 acre. Plenty of room to raise their 3 children. All they needed was a fence, some grass, some concrete, and some welcoming landscaping. And here we are. That's me, of course. Here I am again. I was the middle child, and I guess I'm the star of this story. And that's me playing in the backyard. And I loved horses. I was in love with horses. That's my brother Jerry, my cousin Kathy, and me in the front playing in the backyard. That's me being Peter Pan for Halloween. That's our parakeet. I honestly can't remember his name or her name, but he would always fly to my finger and then kiss me. Like I said, I loved horses. I found a friend when I was in high school who had one, so we rode almost every day. Over the years, the house grew from 1,200 square feet to over 1,900, and there was always room for music. Larry Cunha's family was always known for music in the Portuguese community in San Jose. Dale's father, Luis Barcelos, claimed that his earliest childhood memory was sitting at the foot of my grandfather, Manuel Cunha, as he played a Portuguese chamarita dance music on his 12-string Portuguese guitar. This is my grandfather, Manuel Cunha. He never spoke a word of English, just Portuguese. And the only thing I could remember him ever saying to me was, "Cala a boca, pequena," which means, "Shut up, little girl." This is my father, Larry Cunha, with a violin that my grandfather carved for him. There's a fair chance that the house in the background belonged to Dale's dad's family. It turns out that the Cunha family and the Barcelos family were next-door neighbors in the 1920s. It is said that our grandmothers were best friends until Dale's grandmother died in a car accident in 1933. This is an article from the San Jose Mercury News about that crash that happened on October 9th, 1933. Dale's grandmother, Mary, age 40, and Dale's aunt, Josephine, age 15, were both killed in that accident. Our family was a happy family, raised on music and Coca-Cola. My dad worked for Coca-Cola his entire life. Back in those days, a man could almost raise his family on one union job. Our garage was one of the most favorite spots in the neighborhood. Why? It was always full of soda pop from Coca-Cola Company. This is Forrest, one of my dad's best friends. And this is the Coca-Cola gang, down at the Coca-Cola vending machine repair shop on Gish Road, not far from where my dad grew up. In those days before single-use plastic bottles and aluminum cans, Coca-Cola collected millions of old bottles and washed them clean for reuse. Sorting them was a tedious and labor-intensive task, so my dad went about inventing and patenting a mechanical Coca-Cola bottle sorter. These are the original patent papers from my dad's invention. And it was a wonderful thing to have in the garage because us kids would sort bottles endlessly. We'd mix them all up and send them through the machine. Each bottle had a different profile. Root beer was a different shape than Coca-Cola. Coca-Cola was a different shape from orange. Orange was a different shape from Sprite, and so on. And we'd mix the bottles up and run them through the machine. We'd put 5, 6, 7 alike, and then one that was different, and then 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 alike, and then mix a whole bunch up, and that machine never missed. It always sent the right bottles to the right area. And all the Coca-Cola bottles ended up together, all the root beer bottles ended up together, all the orange bottles ended up together, and the Sprite bottles all together, and it always did it correctly. We were hoping it would take Dad somewhere. This was a really neat invention. But eventually, we put it in the backyard and it just got rusty. Unfortunately, Coca-Cola already knew something my dad didn't. The age of reusable glass bottles was coming to an end in favor of single-use recyclable aluminum cans and plastic bottles. Meanwhile, my mom established herself as a working mom in food services at our local elementary school. This is my mom working in the cafeteria at Cherry Lane Elementary School, close to our house, and these are her friends that worked with her. We ate lunch in the cafeteria every day at school, and for Halloween every year, the ladies in the cafeteria always dressed up in some kind of funny outfit. They had a lot of fun. This was our family in the late 1950s. My dad's hair is just starting to turn gray. But music was a very valued part of the Cunha family life, and my brother was already playing in the band at school. I was taking piano lessons. I didn't like them sometimes, but I spent 5 years taking piano lessons, never realizing that I would use this skill later to make a living. I bought this beautiful soft suede leather hat because I wanted to be like Elizabeth Taylor in National Velvet. Before you know it, I was graduating from Campbell High School and on my way to the San Jose State Art Department, where I planned my whole life out. I was going to be an art teacher, making sandals for wayward hippies by the hundreds. I spent most of my time trying to be an artist. Most of my backyard clothes were splattered with paint, but I cleaned up nice on Sundays. It was just like Ozzie and Harriet. But then, things got complicated.